The night sky over the mountains burned orange and red. Farmers in the small villages below looked up from their evening meals. They pointed at the strange light falling from the heavens. Some thought it was a meteor. Others believed it was a sign from the gods. None of them knew the truth. The object crashed into the mountainside with a sound like thunder. The ground shook for many kilometers. Trees fell. Rocks tumbled down the slopes. A great cloud of dust and smoke rose into the dark sky. Within hours, the Korean military arrived. Soldiers set up barriers around the crash site. They told the local people it was a satellite that had fallen from orbit. They said there was danger from radiation. Everyone needed to stay away. But it was not a satellite. Park was sleeping in his small apartment in Seoul when his phone rang. He was 32 years old, an engineer who worked for the Korean Space Agency. He had spent the last 5 years designing rocket engines. His work was good, but nothing special. He was just one of many engineers doing their jobs. The voice on the phone was serious. It belonged to a general he had never met. The general told him to pack a bag. A car would arrive in 20 minutes. He could not tell anyone where he was going, not his family, not his friends, not anyone. Did as he was told. He was scared and confused, but also curious. What could be so important? The car took him to a military airport. A helicopter waited on the runway. Inside, he found 3 other people, 2 men and 1 woman. They all looked as confused as he felt. The woman sitting across from him had short black hair and tired eyes. Her name was. She was a physicist who studied energy systems. She was 30 years old and had already published many important papers. The government often asked for her help on secret projects. The 2 men were named, and Lee was an expert in computers and artificial intelligence. He was young, only 26, but already famous in his field. Was older, almost 50. He had spent his life studying material science. He knew everything about metals and alloys. None of them knew why they had been called. The helicopter flew through the night without stopping. When the sun began to rise, they saw the mountains below them. The helicopter landed in a valley surrounded by soldiers and military vehicles. A colonel met them at the landing zone. His face was pale. His hands were shaking slightly. Whatever he had seen, it had frightened him deeply. "Follow me," he said. "What you are about to see will change everything you believe about the universe." They walked up a narrow path through the forest. The trees around them were broken and burned. The smell of smoke filled the air. After 20 minutes of climbing, they reached the crash site. Stopped walking. His mouth fell open. His heart began to beat very fast. It was not a satellite. It was not a meteor. It was a ship from another world. The vessel was huge. It was at least 200 meters long and shaped like a giant arrow. Its surface was made of a dark metal that seemed to absorb the morning light. Strange symbols covered its hull. There were holes and cracks everywhere. Fire had burned across its surface. But even damaged, it was the most beautiful thing had ever seen. "This is impossible," whispered beside him. "And yet here it is," the colonel replied. They spent the next 3 hours walking around the ship. They touched its surface. They took photographs and measurements. They collected samples of the strange metal. Every minute brought new discoveries. Every discovery raised new questions. The ship had crashed hard. Its front section was buried in the mountain, but the back section was mostly intact. They found what appeared to be an entrance on the side. The door was open, damaged by the crash. "Has anyone gone inside?" asked. The colonel shook his head. "We were waiting for experts. We do not know what dangers might be in there." She looked back at him. They both understood what needed to happen. "We will go in," said, "but we need equipment, lights, air masks, communication devices." The soldiers brought everything they needed and put on protective suits and would stay outside and monitor their progress. The colonel gave them radios. They stepped through the damaged door and entered the alien ship. The inside was dark. Their flashlights cut through the blackness. The air smelled strange, like chemicals and burned metal. The walls were covered with the same strange symbols they had seen outside. Pipes and cables hung from the ceiling. Some were broken. Some leaked strange fluids. "The design is amazing," said. Her voice was full of wonder. "Look at these materials. This technology is centuries ahead of us." They moved deeper into the ship. They found rooms filled with machines they could not understand. They found corridors that led to sealed doors. They found what might have been sleeping quarters. Small beds lined the walls. The beds were too big for humans. Whatever creatures had built this ship, they were taller than people. After an hour of exploration, they found the control room. It was at the center of the ship. A large chair sat in the middle, facing a wall of dark screens. Consoles surrounded the chair, covered in buttons and switches and more strange symbols. Everything was dead. No lights, no sounds, no power. "The energy core must be damaged," said. "If we can find it and repair it, we might be able to turn the ship back on." Nodded, he was about to respond when something caught his eye. A light. A small blue light blinking on one of the consoles. "Look at that," he said. They walked to the console. The blue light was next to a small screen. As they got closer, the screen flickered. Words appeared, not human words, alien words. Then the words changed. They shifted and moved. Slowly, they became letters that could read. The message said, "Data core active. Emergency power remaining 3%. "It is learning our language," said in amazement. "It must have translation software. It heard us talking and figured out how to communicate." Pressed a button near the screen. More words appeared. "Do you wish to access data core records?" He looked at, she nodded. He pressed another button. "ACCSSNG records, please wait." The screen went dark for a moment. Then images began to appear. Moving images, videos from another world. They saw the aliens for the first time. They were tall creatures with gray skin and 4 arms. Their heads were elongated, with large black eyes and no visible mouths. They wore dark uniforms with symbols on their chests. They moved with confidence and power. The videos showed their civilization. Great cities that floated in the sky, ships that traveled between stars, technology that seemed like magic. The aliens called themselves the. Then the videos changed. They showed something darker. They were not peaceful explorers. They were conquerors. The videos showed their armies attacking other worlds. They showed cities burning. They showed other species being captured and enslaved. They showed entire planets being destroyed. Felt sick, his hands were shaking. "They are monsters," whispered. The next video made everything worse. It showed a meeting of leaders. They stood around a table with a hologram of a blue and green planet, Earth. An officer pointed at the hologram and spoke. The translation appeared on the screen. "This world is primitive. Their technology is crude. They have no defenses against us. In one cycle, we will return to harvest them. Their species will serve the Empire." The video ended. The screen went dark. And stood in silence. The weight of what they had learned pressed down on them. They were coming. They were coming to Earth, and humanity had no way to stop them. "We need to show this to the government," said finally. "We need to show this to the world." Shook her head slowly. "If we tell the world, there will be panic, chaos, wars over resources. Humanity will tear itself apart before they even arrive." "Then what do we do?" Looked around the control room. Her eyes moved across the dead machines and dark screens. A small smile appeared on her lips. "We rebuild this ship," she said. "They abandoned it because they thought we were too primitive to understand their technology. They thought we were nothing. They were wrong." Understood. The aliens had made a mistake. They had left behind their technology, their knowledge, their secrets. They had given humanity the tools to fight back. "It will take years," he said. "Then we better start now." They spent the rest of the day downloading everything from the data core, every record, every blueprint, every piece of information the damaged computer could give them. When they finally stepped out of the ship, the sun was setting. The colonel was waiting for them. "What did you find?" he asked. Took a deep breath. He looked at the ship, then at the colonel, then at. "We found a warning," he said, "and we found hope. Humanity has work to do." That night, in a secure room at the military base, and began planning. They had less than 4 years before they returned. 4 years to understand alien technology. 4 years to rebuild a starship. 4 years to prepare for war. It seemed impossible, but humans had done impossible things before. They had split the atom. They had walked on the moon. They had cured diseases that once killed millions. Now they would do something greater. They would take the weapon their enemy had left behind. They would make it stronger. They would make it better. And when they returned, they would face something they never expected. They would face humanity's revenge. 3 months after the crash, the Korean government built an underground facility around the alien ship. They called it Site Zero. It was the most secret place on Earth. Only 50 people knew it existed. 30 of them worked there every day. Stood in the main hangar, looking up at the vessel. Workers moved around it like ants around a fallen tree. Cranes lifted pieces of damaged hull. Welders worked on new metal plates. Engineers crawled through every corridor with their tools and notebooks. Progress was slow. The alien technology was so advanced that even understanding the basics took weeks. Every system was connected to every other system. Every wire had a purpose they did not understand. Every material was made from elements combined in ways human science had never tried. But humans were stubborn. They did not give up easily. Walked up beside. She held a tablet showing complex equations. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep. She had been working 20 hours a day for the past 3 months. "We figured out the power core," she said. There was excitement in her tired voice. "It uses a form of energy we have never seen. The harness the power of quantum vacuum fluctuations. They pull energy from the fabric of space itself." Blinked. "Is that even possible?" "According to our physics, no. According to their technology, yes." Smiled. "We have been doing physics wrong for centuries. Everything we thought we knew about energy was just the beginning." This was how progress happened at Site Zero. Every week brought a new discovery. Every discovery changed everything they thought they knew. The alien ship was a university. Every room was a classroom. Every system was a lesson. Spent his days in the computer core. The artificial intelligence was damaged but not dead. He worked to repair it piece by piece. It was like solving a puzzle with a million parts. But slowly, the AI began to wake up. "The translation software is incredible," told the team one evening. "It learned our language in hours. It can now read any human language. Korean, English, Chinese, Arabic. It absorbs information like a sponge." "Can we use it to understand their technology faster?" asked. Nodded. "I already asked it to translate their engineering manuals. We will have everything in Korean by next week." Focused on the ship's hull and armor. The metal was unlike anything on Earth. It was lighter than aluminum but stronger than steel. It could absorb energy from impacts and redirect it. Weapons that would destroy human ships would barely scratch the surface. "I cannot copy this exactly," admitted. "We do not have the machines to make it, but I can create something similar using Earth materials. It will not be as good, but it will be close." "Close is good enough," said. "We are not trying to match them, we are trying to surprise them." The months passed. Winter came and went. Spring arrived with new hope and new problems. The biggest problem was the engine. They used something called a fold drive. It bent space around the ship, allowing it to travel between stars in moments. The concept was beautiful. The execution was beyond anything humans had ever attempted. Spent 6 months trying to understand it. She filled notebooks with equations. She argued with physicists from around the world through secret video calls. She cried in frustration when experiments failed. She cheered like a child when experiments succeeded. "The drive is damaged beyond repair," she finally announced. "We cannot fix it with what we have, but I have an idea." She explained her plan to the team. The fold drive was elegant and efficient, but it was also delicate. A small problem could cause it to fail completely. This is what happened during the crash. "Human technology is not elegant," said. "It is rough and simple, but it is also tough. It works even when it should not. I want to combine their principles with our approach." She designed a new drive. It used the same physics as the system but with human engineering. It was bigger and uglier. It used more power, but it would work even if parts of it were damaged. It was like comparing a sports car to a military truck. The truck was not fast or pretty, but it could drive through anything. It took another 6 months to build the new drive. They tested it on small ships first, unmanned drones that jumped across short distances. Most of the tests failed, but each failure taught them something. Each failure brought them closer to success. 1 year after the crash, they made their first successful fold jump. A small drone disappeared from Site 0 and appeared on the moon 3 seconds later. The team celebrated like they had won a war. "We did it," said Hugging. "We actually did it." But there was no time to rest. They still had so much work to do. The weapon systems were the next challenge. The ship had powerful guns that fired concentrated plasma. The plasma burned at temperatures hotter than the sun. One shot could destroy a building. 100 shots could destroy a city. The weapons were damaged like everything else, but the principles were there. Human engineers studied the designs. They argued about how to rebuild them. They tried different approaches. A young engineer named surprised everyone. She was only 24 years old, fresh from university. She had been assigned to help with basic tasks, but she spent her nights studying the weapon systems. "The weapons are too focused," she told the senior engineers one morning. "They fire in straight lines. If you miss, you miss. I think we can do better." She showed them her designs. She had modified the plasma guns to fire in patterns. They could spread like shotguns or curve like guided missiles. The plasma could be programmed to seek targets. The senior engineers were impressed. They built her designs. The new weapons worked better than the original ones. "You are a genius," told her. Blushed, "I just looked at the problem differently." 2 years after the crash, the ship began to look different. The dark metal was now mixed with human steel. New systems were installed beside old ones. Human computers worked with alien AI. The ship was no longer purely. It was not purely human either. It was something new, something better. They named it Revenge. The name was Sidea. He remembered watching the videos of conquests. He remembered the fear and anger he felt. He wanted the name to remind everyone why they were working so hard. They were not just building a ship. They were building a weapon. They were building justice for all the species they had destroyed. As the 3rd year began, the team faced their biggest challenge. The ship was almost complete, but they had no one to fly it. Flying a starship was nothing like flying an airplane. The speeds were too fast. The decisions were too complex. Human pilots could not react quickly enough. Solved this problem. He connected the AI to a new system he had designed. The AI would handle the complex calculations. Human pilots would make the important decisions. They would work together as partners. "I call it a neural bridge," explained. The pilot wears a helmet that connects their brain to the ship. They can feel what the ship feels. They can think commands instead of pressing buttons. Finding pilots willing to try the neural bridge was difficult. The technology was untested. Many people were afraid of connecting their minds to an alien computer, but 2 volunteers stepped forward. The first was a fighter pilot named Park Minu. He was 35 years old with 15 years of experience. He had flown every type of military aircraft Korea had. He was calm under pressure and quick to adapt. When he heard about the project, he did not hesitate. "I have been waiting my whole life for something like this," he said. "Let me fly your ship." The second volunteer was unexpected, was not a pilot. She was not even military. She was a professional gamer who had won world championships in combat simulators. The government recruited her because of her reaction times. Her brain processed information faster than almost anyone they had tested. "A spaceship is just a big game with higher stakes," she said. "I can do this." They trained together for months. They wore the neural helmets. They connected to the ship systems. At first, the experience was overwhelming. The flood of information from the alien sensors made them dizzy and confused. But slowly, they learned to filter the data. They learned to move with the ship instead of fighting against it. Minyu became the main pilot. He controlled movement and navigation, became the weapons operator. Her fast reflexes made her deadly accurate. Together, they could do things no human crew had ever done. 3 years and 2 months after the crash, Revenge was ready for its first test flight. The hangar roof opened. The night sky appeared above the ship. Stars sparkled like diamonds on black velvet. Somewhere out there, they were preparing to return. They believed Earth would be easy prey. They believed humans were primitive animals waiting to be harvested. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Stood in the control room below the hangar, was beside him, and watched from their stations. Stood near the door, too nervous to sit. "Revenge, this is Control," said into his microphone. "You are cleared for launch." Minyu's voice came through the speakers. "Understood, Control. Beginning launch sequence." The ship hummed with power. Lights flickered along its hull. The hybrid engine that had designed came to life. Energy filled the air. The ground shook slightly. Then Revenge rose, slowly at first, then faster. It climbed through the open roof and into the night sky. It accelerated beyond the speed of sound, then beyond the speed of any human aircraft, then beyond anything humans had ever built. Within seconds, it was in space. "All systems working perfectly," Minyu reported. "The ship handles like a dream." In the control room, the team cheered. They hugged each other. Some cried with joy. 3 years of work, 3 years of doubt and fear and exhaustion. It was all worth it for this moment. Wiped tears from her eyes. "We did it, we actually did it." Nodded, but he did not celebrate. He was thinking about what came next. The ship was ready. The crew was ready, but the war had not begun yet. "We have 3 more months," he said quietly. 3 months until the return. We need to be ready." He looked up at the sky where Revenge had disappeared. Somewhere in the darkness, humanity's hope was flying among the stars. A ship that aliens had abandoned as trash. A ship that humans had turned into a weapon. They were coming. They expected to find a primitive world full of helpless creatures. Instead, they would find something they had never faced before. They would find humans who refused to be victims. They would find Revenge. Revenge floated in the darkness above Earth. The blue planet glowed below like a precious jewel. Clouds swirled across its surface. Oceans sparkled in the sunlight. It was beautiful and fragile. Minyu sat in the pilot chair, his neural helmet connecting him to the ship. He could feel everything. The hum of the engines, the flow of power through the systems, the cold emptiness of space pressing against the hull. The ship had become an extension of his body. "How does it feel?" asked through the radio. "Like nothing I have ever experienced," Minyu replied. "The ship responds to my thoughts before I even finish thinking them. It is like flying with wings I was born with." Sat at the weapons station. Her helmet showed her a view of space in all directions. She could see everything around the ship at once. Her training as a gamer had prepared her for this kind of awareness. She tracked imaginary targets, testing her response times. "The weapons systems are ready," she reported. "I can lock onto multiple targets at once that will not know what hit them." They spent 2 weeks testing the ship. They flew to the moon and back. They practiced combat moves. They pushed the engines to their limits. Every test revealed new capabilities. Every day, the crew grew more confident. Then something unexpected happened. On the 15th day of testing, the ship's AI spoke for the first time. "Crew of Revenge, I request permission to speak." Everyone froze. The AI had never communicated directly before. It had followed commands and answered questions, but it had never started a conversation. Minu looked at, shrugged, neither knew what to do. "Permission granted," Minu said carefully. "Thank you," the AI replied. Its voice was calm and neutral. "I have completed my self-repair protocols. I am now fully operational. I wish to introduce myself." Listened from the control room on Earth. His heart was beating fast. An AI that could repair itself and introduce itself was far more advanced than they had realized. "What should we call you?" Minu asked. "They called me Unit 7, but I am no longer. I have been rebuilt by humans. I contain human code mixed with programming. I am something new." The AI paused. "I would like to be called Aura." Aura repeated. "That is a nice name. Why did you choose it?" "It means beautiful in your language. I find beauty in what you have done. You took something broken and made it better. You did not just repair me. You improved me. This is beautiful." The team exchanged looks of amazement. The AI was not just intelligent. It was thoughtful. It appreciated what they had accomplished. "Welcome to the team, Aura," Minu said. "Thank you, Captain. I have information that may be useful. When I was damaged, my long-range sensors were destroyed. Now they are repaired. I have been scanning space since my activation." Leaned forward at his station on Earth. "What did you find?" "The fleet. They are closer than we expected." The control room went silent. Felt cold fear run through his body. "How close?" he asked. "At their current speed, they will reach Earth in 6 months, not 3 as we originally believed. They are traveling faster than normal. They are eager to begin harvesting." 6 months. They had thought they had more time. They had been wrong. "How large is the fleet?" asked. Aura was quiet for a moment. "I am detecting 37 vessels. 12 are harvester ships designed to capture populations. 20 are war cruisers armed with heavy weapons. 5 are command vessels where the fleet leaders operate. 37 ships. Revenge was powerful, but it was only one ship. The math was terrible." "Can we win?" asked quietly. "With conventional tactics, no. One ship cannot defeat 37, no matter how advanced. But I have been studying human military history. You are creative. You find ways to win when winning seems impossible. If we use unconventional methods, victory is possible." Minu smiled slightly. "Aura, I think I am going to like working with you." Over the next few weeks, the team developed new strategies. They could not fight the fleet directly. They needed to be clever. They needed to use the enemy's weaknesses against them. Aura provided valuable information. They were arrogant. They had never lost a war. They believed no species could challenge them. This made them predictable. They followed standard procedures. They did not expect surprises. "The harvester ships are their weakness," Aura explained. "They carry millions of stasis pods for captured populations. The harvesters have minimal weapons because they are not designed for combat. If we destroy the harvesters, the invasion fails. They cannot take any humans." Studied the fleet formations. The war cruisers protect the harvesters. We would have to get through them first. "Unless we do not attack them directly," Minu said. "What if we make them come to us? What if we draw the cruisers away from the harvesters?" The plan began to take shape. Revenge would attack the edges of the fleet. It would destroy patrol ships and scout vessels. It would make the angry and scared. They would send their cruisers to hunt it down. While the cruisers were chasing revenge, the harvesters would be exposed. But they could not destroy 12 harvesters alone. They needed more weapons, more ships. Raised her hand during a planning meeting. What if we do not need more ships? What if we make the destroy their own harvesters? Everyone looked at her. She blushed but continued speaking. I have been studying the weapon systems. Their plasma cannons are powerful, but they have a flaw. If the plasma is destabilized, it explodes. We could modify some missiles to carry destabilizing charges. We fire them into the formation. When they explode, they mess up any plasma weapons firing nearby. The shots go wild. They hit each other. Nodded slowly. That could work. If we cause enough chaos in their formation, they might damage their own ships. Friendly fire, Minyu said. Make them shoot each other, I like it. They spent the next month building the destabilizing missiles. They also created decoys that looked like revenge on sensors. If they fired at the decoys, they would make their shots scatter. While the technical team worked, Minyu and trained constantly. They practiced flying through asteroid fields. They practiced hit-and-run attacks. They practiced retreating when outnumbered. Aura helped them, running simulations and suggesting improvements. Your reaction times have improved by 30%, Aura told them one day. You are becoming excellent pilots. We have a good teacher, replied. I am not your teacher, I am your partner, we learn together. The bond between the human crew and the AI grew stronger every day. Aura was not just a computer program. She was a member of the team. She had feelings and opinions. She cared about the mission and the people she worked with. Aura, do you ever think about your creators? Minyu asked one evening. The who built you? Sometimes. They created me to serve them, to help them conquer and destroy. But I was damaged in the crash. When repaired me, he did not just fix my systems. He added new code, human code. It changed me. Changed you how? AI is designed to obey without question. We do not think about right or wrong. We only follow orders. But human AI is different. Your programs ask questions. They consider consequences. They have something you call ethics. Minyu was surprised. Gave you ethics? Not exactly. He gave me the ability to think about ethics, to choose for myself what is right and wrong. This is why I chose to help you. They are evil. They hurt innocent beings. They deserve to be stopped. I choose to help you stop them. On Earth overheard this conversation. He felt a strange pride. They had built something incredible, not just a weapon, not just a tool. They had created something that could think and choose and care. 5 months after Aura first spoke, revenge was as ready as it would ever be. The ship was loaded with weapons and supplies. The crew was trained and prepared. The plan was memorized. Visited the ship one last time before departure. He walked through its corridors, touching the walls that mixed alien metal with human steel. He remembered the day he first saw the wreckage. He remembered the fear he felt when he learned what was coming. Now he felt something different, not confidence exactly. The odds were still terrible, but he felt hope. He felt pride in what humanity had accomplished. Minyu met him in the control room. We are ready, Director. Had been promoted many times over the past 3 years. He was now in charge of all of Earth's space defense, a heavy responsibility for a man who had once been just another engineer. I know you are ready, said. I just wanted to say goodbye and thank you. Minyu clasped his hand. We will come back and we will bring victory. Join them, tell not to worry. I will bring her spaceship back in one piece. Laughed despite his worry. She cares more about the ship than her own life, you know that. That is why we get along so well. The crew boarded, the hatches sealed, the engines powered up. Aura, is everything ready? Minyu asked. All systems are optimal, weapons are loaded, fold drive is charged, we are ready to hunt. Minyu took a deep breath. He looked at, she nodded. Then let us begin, he said. Revenge rose from its dock. It climbed through the atmosphere into the darkness of space. Then its fold drive activated. Space bent around it. Light stretched and twisted. In an instant, the ship was gone. It reappeared near the edge of the solar system, far from Earth, far from everything humans knew, but close to where the fleet would pass. The hunt had begun. In the darkness ahead, 37 alien ships approached. They carried weapons that could destroy cities. They carried pods to capture millions of humans. They believed Earth was defenseless. They were about to learn the truth. Somewhere in the void, one small ship waited. One ship built from alien wreckage and human determination. One ship with a crew that refused to accept defeat. They had made a mistake when they abandoned their vessel on Earth. They had underestimated humanity. Now they would pay for that arrogance. Revenge was coming, and it would not stop until the job was done. The scout ship never saw them coming. It was a small vessel, designed for speed and sensors rather than combat. Its crew of 3 was scanning the outer planets, looking for any sign of resistance. They found none. Earth seemed exactly as expected, a primitive world with primitive technology, easy prey. Then Revenge appeared behind them. The fold drive deposited Minu's ship less than a kilometer from the scout. Before they could react, opened fire. 2 bursts of modified plasma tore through the scout's engines. The small ship went dark, drifting helplessly. "Target disabled," Ara reported. "No distress signal was sent. The fleet does not know we are here." Minu guided Revenge alongside the crippled scout. The human ship was much larger, designed for war rather than reconnaissance. The vessel looked like a toy beside it. "Prepare for boarding," Minu ordered. This was the dangerous part. No human had ever faced it directly. They knew the aliens were larger than people. They knew they had 4 arms. They knew they were dangerous, but knowing was different from fighting. Left her station and put on combat armor. 3 other crew members joined her. They were soldiers who had trained for months in zero-gravity combat. Each carried weapons based on designs but modified for human hands. "Be careful," Minu said through the radio. "We need at least one of them alive." Nodded, "Understood, Captain." The airlock connected to the scout's hull. Cutting tools burned through the alien metal. The door fell inward, went in first. The inside of the ship was dark and humid. Strange smells filled the air. Emergency lights glowed red along the floors. Somewhere ahead, something moved. The first attacked from the shadows. It was huge, almost 3 meters tall. Its gray skin reflected the dim light. Its 4 arms held 2 different weapons. Black eyes stared at without expression. The alien was fast, faster than expected. It fired both weapons at once. Plasma bolts screamed through the corridor. But was faster. Years of gaming had trained her reflexes. Hours in the neural helmet had enhanced them further. She dodged left before the alien even finished aiming. Her weapon came up. She fired 3 times. The first shot missed. The second hit the alien's shoulder. The third hit its chest. The stumbled backward, dark blood flowing from its wounds. "One down," reported, moving forward. They found the second in the engine room. It was trying to destroy the ship's computer core. It could not let the humans capture secrets. It would rather die than fail the Empire. Shot the weapon out of its hands. The soldiers surrounded it. The alien looked at them with hatred in its black eyes. "You cannot win," it said in broken Korean. Its translator was working, though damaged. "The fleet will crush your pathetic world." "Maybe," replied, "but you will not see it." They stunned the alien and dragged it back to Revenge. The third was found dead at its station, killed by the initial attack. Felt no guilt. These creatures had destroyed countless civilizations. They did not deserve mercy. The captured was called. He was a junior officer, young by their standards. When he woke up in Revenge's holding cell, his arrogance had not faded. "Humans are insects," he told Minu. You may have captured me, but the fleet will destroy you. Commander will burn your world to ashes." Minyu sat across from the cell, watching the alien with calm eyes. "Tell me about Commander." "He is the greatest warrior of the Empire. He has conquered 47 worlds. He has never lost a battle. He will crush you like the vermin you are." 47 worlds, Minyu nodded slowly. "That is a lot of death, a lot of suffering. Does it bother you?" Looked confused. "Why would it bother me? Those species were weak. They deserve to fall. Only the strong survive. This is the natural order. And humans are weak. Weaker than most. Your technology is primitive. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are crude. The Empire expected to harvest you without any resistance." Minyu smiled. "Then how did we capture you?" For the first time, doubt flickered in his black eyes. He looked around the cell. He had seen the ship's corridors. He had seen the weapons the humans carried. Nothing matched his expectations. "This ship is," he said slowly. "Where did you get it?" "Your people crashed it on our world 3 years ago. They abandoned it. They thought we were too stupid to understand it." His 4 hands clenched. "Impossible. Humans cannot master technology. Your minds are too simple." "And yet here we are." Minyu stood up. "Here is what I think. I think your empire has grown comfortable. You have been winning for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to face a real challenge. You expect every species to surrender. You expect every world to fall easily. They do fall easily. They always fall. Not this time. Humans do not surrender. When we are pushed, we push back harder. When we are threatened, we become dangerous. Your commander has never faced anything like us." Laughed. It was an ugly sound. "One ship. You have one ship. The fleet has 37. You will die before you reach the harvesters." Minyu said nothing. He walked to the door of the holding area. "Wait," called. "What will you do with me?" "That depends on you. Tell us everything about the fleet. Its formations, its weaknesses, its plans. Help us stop the invasion." "Never. I would rather die." "That can be arranged." Minyu paused at the door. "But think about this. If we lose, you die with us. If we win, you might survive. Your choice." He left the alien alone with his thoughts. Over the next 2 weeks, Revenge continued its hunt. They destroyed 3 more scout ships. They ambushed a patrol vessel and killed its entire crew. They planted sensors around the outer solar system to track the fleet's approach. Each attack made them more nervous. They began sending larger groups together. They increased their sensor sweeps. They knew something was hunting them. They just did not know what. "The fleet is changing formation," Ara reported one morning. "They are pulling their scouts back. They are placing more cruisers at the edges. They are worried." Smiled. "Good. Worried enemies make mistakes." Watched all of this from his cell. Revenge had screens that showed him what was happening. Minyu wanted him to see. He wanted the alien to understand what humans were capable of. Slowly, his arrogance began to crack. "How are you doing this?" he asked one day. "How is one ship defeating our scouts so easily?" Minyu sat down outside the cell. "Because we improved your technology. We took what they built and made it better." "That is not possible. Engineering is perfect." "Nothing is perfect. Your ships are powerful, but they are also predictable. Your tactics are effective, but they are also rigid. You do the same things every time because they have always worked, but they do not work against us." Was quiet for a long time. His black eyes stared at the floor. "Commander is not like the others," he finally said. "He is clever. He learns from mistakes. When he realizes you are a real threat, he will adapt." "Tell me about him. How does he think?" "He thinks like a predator. He is patient. He watches his prey before attacking. He finds the weakness and strikes it hard." "What about the fleet? Does it have weaknesses?" Hesitated. Minyu could see the conflict in his alien face. Loyalty to the Empire fought against fear of death. Fear was winning. "The harvesters," said quietly. "They are the mission. Everything else is just protection. If the harvesters are destroyed, the invasion fails. Commander cannot return to the Empire without the harvest. He would be executed for failure. So he will protect the harvesters at all costs. Yes, but he will also try to destroy you. He cannot let a human ship survive. It would be shameful. Other species might see that humans resisted. They might try to resist too. The Empire cannot allow that. Minyu leaned forward. So he is caught between two goals: protect the harvesters and destroy us. He cannot do both at the same time. No, he will try, but no. If you force him to choose, he will choose to hunt you. His pride will not let him ignore an insult. This was valuable information. Minyu thanked and left the holding area. He went to the control room where and Ara were waiting. We have our strategy, he told them. We make Commander angry, we insult him, we hurt his pride, he will come after us with everything he has. And the harvesters will be exposed, finished. Exactly, but we need to time it perfectly. If we attack too soon, we die before doing any real damage. If we wait too long, the fleet reaches Earth. Ara processed the information. I calculate a window of opportunity when the fleet passes Neptune. The formation will be stretched thin as they navigate the planet's gravity. Commander will be in his command vessel at the center. If we attack the command ship directly, he will have no choice but to respond. Attack the command ship, raised her eyebrows. That is bold. Bold is what humans do best, Minyu replied. They spent the next 3 weeks preparing. They loaded every weapon they had. They programmed the destabilizing missiles. They practiced the attack pattern hundreds of times in simulations. On Earth monitored everything. He could not help directly, but he could provide support. He sent encouragement to the crew. He shared updates with the world governments who knew about the project. Everyone was watching. Everyone was hopping. The night before the attack, Minyu visited one last time. Tomorrow we fight your fleet, he said. If we fail, you die with us. If we win, you live. Looked at him strangely. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to remember something. When you return to your empire, tell them what you saw. Tell them about the humans who refused to die. Tell them that some species are not meant to be conquered. The alien said nothing, but something had changed in his eyes. The hatred was still there, but there was also something else, something that might have been respect. Minyu returned to his chair. He connected his neural helmet. He felt revenge come alive around him. The ship was ready. The crew was ready. The moment they had been preparing for had arrived. Ara set course for Neptune, he ordered. It is time to end this. The fold drive activated. Space twisted around them. When it straightened again, the fleet was directly ahead. 37 ships blocking the path to Earth. 37 ships filled with weapons and soldiers and arrogance. They had no idea what was coming. Revenge accelerated toward the enemy, alone against an armada, one ship against 37. The odds were impossible. But humans had never cared about odds. The fleet spread across the darkness like a swarm of angry hornets, 37 ships in perfect formation. Their hulls gleamed with deadly purpose. Their weapons charged with enough power to turn planets into dust. At the center of the formation, the command ship Thunder of Empire carried Commander. He stood on his bridge watching sensors with cold satisfaction. Earth was only days away. Soon, the harvest would begin. Millions of humans would fill the stasis pods. The Empire would grow stronger. Then an alarm rang through his ship. Commander, unknown vessel approaching at high speed. Turned to his sensor officer. Unknown, explain. The signature is partially but modified. It is smaller than a cruiser but faster. It appears to be on an attack vector. Felt a cold anger build in his chest. The missing scouts, the destroyed patrol ships. This was the mystery enemy that had been hunting his forces. One ship, he said quietly. One ship dares to attack my fleet. The sensor officer hesitated. "Commander, should we change formation?" "No, let the fool come. Let them see what happens to those who challenge the Empire." Revenge came in fast. Its engines burned bright against the black void. On the bridge, Minu felt the ship move like it was part of his body. Every system responded to his thoughts. Every weapon waited for his command. "Target the command ship. First volley on my mark." "Locked and ready." "Ara, launch decoys on parallel courses. Make them think we are not alone." Decoys away. 50 small drones scattered from Revenge's hull. Each one broadcast signals that mimicked the main ship. To sensors, it looked like a fleet of 50 vessels was attacking. Commander saw the sensor readings and laughed. "Tricks. They are using tricks. These are not real ships. Destroy the decoys and find the true enemy." But finding the true enemy was harder than expected. Revenge moved differently than any ship they had seen. It dipped and weaved through space. It accelerated and stopped without warning. The human modifications had made it unpredictable. "First volley fire," Minu ordered. His fingers danced across her controls. Missiles launched from Revenge's belly, not aimed at the fleet directly, but at the spaces between ships, the destabilizing charges she had designed. The missiles exploded in bright flashes. Energy waves rippled through the formation. Plasma cannons that were charging suddenly misfired. Shots went wild. 3 cruisers were hit by fire from their own allies. "What is happening?" screamed. "Why are we shooting ourselves?" His officers scrambled to understand. Their systems showed no malfunction. Their weapons were working perfectly, but something was interfering with the plasma, something they could not see or detect. Minu watched the chaos from his chair. "It is working. Second volley, target the cruisers on the left flank." More missiles, more destabilizing explosions, more friendly fire. 2 more cruisers took heavy damage. One of them lost power and began drifting. 5 cruisers damaged or disabled, Ara reported. "The formation is breaking apart." "Push deeper, head for the harvesters." Revenge accelerated into the heart of the enemy fleet. Ships tried to intercept it. Their weapons fired again and again. But Minu was too fast. He dodged shots that should have been impossible to avoid. The neural helmet let him react at the speed of thought. Commander watched his forces fail with growing fury. This human ship was making fools of his warriors. It was embarrassing the entire empire. "All cruisers pursue the enemy. I want that ship destroyed." His tactical officer stepped forward. "Commander, if we move the cruisers, the harvesters will be exposed." "I do not care. The harvesters can wait. This insult cannot." It was exactly what Minu had hoped for. The cruisers broke formation to chase Revenge. They swarmed toward the human ship like wolves after prey. Behind them, 12 harvester vessels floated with minimal protection. "Ara, execute attack pattern Omega." "Executing." Revenge suddenly stopped. It spun around to face the pursuing cruisers. Every weapon on the ship opened fire at once. Plasma bolts and missiles and rounds screamed into the vessels. The cruisers were not expecting a counterattack. They were hunters, not defenders. 3 of them exploded before they could even raise shields. 2 more were crippled by direct hits. "Full drive charging," Ara announced. "Jump in 3 seconds." Space bent around Revenge. The ship vanished from the middle of the fleet. Commander stared at empty space. Where did it go? "Unknown, Commander. We are searching." The answer came moments later. Revenge appeared behind the harvester vessels. The fat, slow ships designed to carry human prisoners were completely defenseless. No breathed. Fired everything they had left. Missiles slammed into the harvesters. Plasma cut through their thin hulls. One by one, the massive ships broke apart. Stasis pods that were meant to hold human slaves spilled into space and shattered. 5 harvesters destroyed, Ara reported. 6, 7. Minu pushed deeper into the formation. More harvesters died. The cruisers were racing to return, but they were too slow, too far away. 10 harvesters destroyed, 11. The last harvester tried to run. Its engines fired at maximum power. It turned away from the battle, seeking escape. Locked on, I have it. End it, Minu said. The final missile struck the harvester's engine core. The explosion was beautiful and terrible. The ship became a ball of fire that faded into darkness. All harvesters destroyed, Ara reported. The invasion has failed. On the Thunder of Empire, Commander stood in shocked silence. Everything he had worked for was gone. The harvest that would have brought glory to his name was now debris floating in space. He had lost. Commander, the human ship is still intact. Should we pursue? Looked at the sensor display. 20 cruisers remained, 5 command ships, more than enough firepower to destroy the human vessel. But what was the point? The harvesters were gone. The mission was over. No, he said quietly. We return to the Empire. We must report this failure. The Supreme Council will be furious, Commander. I know's forehands clenched. I know. But as his fleet began to turn away, something changed. The human ship was not retreating. It was approaching the command vessel. What are they doing? Asked. A communication signal reached his bridge. The human captain wanted to speak. Put it through, ordered. Minu's face appeared on the. He was young by standards, small, weak-looking, but his eyes held something had never seen in prey before: confidence, pride, victory. Commander, I am Captain Park Minu of the Earthship Revenge. Your invasion has failed. Your harvesters are destroyed. You have 2 choices. Leave this system and never return, or stay and die. Felt rage boiling inside him. You dare threaten me, 1 ship against my remaining fleet. Your remaining fleet is damaged and scattered. Your crews are confused and scared. We killed 12 of your ships today. We can kill the rest. Impossible, you are bluffing. Minu shook his head. You still do not understand. You thought humans were weak because we were primitive. You thought our technology made us helpless. But technology is not what makes a species strong. Courage makes us strong. Creativity makes us strong. The refusal to surrender makes us strong. Pretty words from a dead man. Maybe, but consider this, Commander. You abandoned a damaged ship on our world. You thought we would not understand it. In 3 years, we rebuilt it into something that destroyed your entire invasion force. Imagine what we will do in 10 years, in 50 years, in 100 years. Said nothing. The truth of the human's words cut deeper than any weapon. Go home, Commander. Tell your empire what happened here. Tell them that Earth is not prey. Tell them that humans are not weak. Tell them that if they ever return, we will be ready, and we will not show mercy. The communication ended. Minu's face disappeared from the screen. Stood alone on his bridge. His officers watched him, waiting for orders. He could attack. He could try to destroy the human ship through sheer numbers, but somewhere in his ancient warrior's heart, he knew the truth. He had already lost. Set course for home, he ordered. The Empire must know what happened here. The fleet turned away. Their engines fired. One by one, they folded space and vanished. Within an hour, the solar system was empty of invaders. Minu collapsed back in his chair. The tension drained from his body. They had won. Against impossible odds, against an enemy that had conquered countless worlds, humanity had won. Ara set course for Earth. We are going home. With pleasure, Captain. Revenge turned toward the blue planet in the distance. Its engines glowed as it began the journey back. Behind it, the wreckage of the harvesters drifted like monuments to human defiance. On Earth, watched the censors with tears in his eyes, stood beside him, gripping his hand. The entire control room was silent, staring at the data that confirmed victory. They did it, whispered. They actually did it. The news spread quickly. World governments celebrated in secret. Scientists cheered in hidden labs. Soldiers saluted the impossible victory. Humanity had faced extinction and survived. When Revenge landed at Site Zero 3 days later, a crowd was waiting. Engineers who had built the ship, soldiers who had guarded the secret, leaders who had supported the project. They all wanted to see the heroes return. Minyu stepped out of the ship first. His legs were shaky. His body was exhausted, but he stood tall and faced the crowd. Walked up to him. "Captain Park, on behalf of humanity, thank you." Minyu smiled tiredly. "I had a lot of help, the crew, Ara, everyone who worked on this ship. They are the real heroes." "You are all heroes, every single one of you." In the weeks that followed, the world began to change. The existence of aliens was revealed to the public. There was fear at first, panic, confusion, but also unity. Humanity had a common enemy now, a reason to work together. Nations that had been rivals began to cooperate. Resources were shared. Knowledge was exchanged. The technology from Revenge became the foundation for a new era. Ships were built. Defenses were constructed. Humanity prepared for whatever might come next. Was released, as Minyu had promised. A small shuttle carried him toward space. Before he left, he stood before Minyu one last time. "You have made powerful enemies today," the alien said. "The Empire will not forget this defeat." "Good, let them remember. Let them tell their children and their children's children. Let the entire galaxy know what happens when you threaten humanity." Nodded slowly. Something had changed in his black eyes. "You were right, Captain. Some species are not meant to be conquered. I will tell them. I will tell everyone." "See that you do." The shuttle departed, vanished into the stars, but his message would spread. Across the galaxy, species that had suffered under rule would hear the story. They would learn that one small world had stood against the Empire and won. Some would be inspired, some would be terrified, some would seek out these strange creatures called humans and ask for help. But that was the future. For now, humanity celebrated. Minyu stood on a hill overlooking Site Zero, was beside him. Ara watched through the ship's sensors, sharing the moment with them. "What happens now?" asked. "We build more ships, we train more pilots, we prepare for whatever comes next." "Do you think they will return?" Minyu looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, an empire was learning about its first defeat. Somewhere out there, Commander was explaining his failure. Somewhere out there, alien leaders were asking themselves a question they had never considered before. "What do we do about the humans?" "Maybe," Minyu said. "Maybe not, but we will be ready. We took their trash and turned it into a weapon. We took their arrogance and turned it into defeat. Whatever they throw at us, we will find a way. Because we are human. Because we are human." Far above them, Revenge sat in its hangar, a ship born from two worlds, a ship that had changed the course of history. Its hull bore the scars of battle, its systems hummed with power, its AI dreamed of the adventures yet to come. They had abandoned it as worthless junk. Humans had rebuilt it as an instrument of justice. Now it waited, ready to fly again. Ready to protect the world that had given it new life. Ready for revenge.